Now on the CTV News at 5.
Albertans are frustrated that their kids' educations are being affected. They are frustrated that their teenagers can't find a part-time job. They're frustrated that it's harder and harder to find an affordable place to live or a family doctor in their part of town. They're frustrated that they've never had a say in any of this.
The Premier announces a provincial referendum. Plus, Lethbridge records its first decline in homelessness in more than a decade. And the impact on southern Alberta of the U.S. Supreme Court striking down much of Donald Trump's tariffs.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us this Friday. Albertans will be voting in October. The provincial government will hold a referendum on several topics, including immigration, access to social services, and equalization. But the plan is getting a lot of pushback.
I want you to know how confident I am in the judgment of Albertans on these and other delicate issues. Although there are some politicians and commentators that fear direct democracy, such as referendums, I do not. I trust the judgment of Albertans.
Now, among the 9 referendum questions, whether the province should take increased control over immigration, another, whether to restrict social services for some immigrants, and whether non-permanent residents should be charged a fee to access health and education systems. Alberta also wants to make amendments to the Canadian Constitution, giving provinces the right to choose King's Bench justices, abolishing the federal Senate, and allow jurisdictions to opt out of federal programs without losing federal funding.
The fact is, Alberta taxpayers can no longer be asked to continue to subsidize the entire country through equalization and federal transfers, permit the federal government to flood our borders with new arrivals, and then give free access to our most generous in the country social programs to anyone who moves here.
The issue of immigration adding to strain on public services was a key discussion topic at last year's Alberta Next panel. Several groups have objected. The Alberta Coalition of Defence Counsel, which represents 400 lawyers in the province, say it is an attack on the rule of law. The Alberta Federation of Labour says the referendum is not democracy, it is manipulation. Some political scientists call it a blatant crackdown on immigrants, and critics say the messaging was politically calculated as a clear scapegoat for a multi-billion-dollar deficit ahead of next week's provincial budget.
So somebody has to be blamed, and it can't be low oil prices, and it can't be the provincial government. She's creating a demonization, and that demonization is immigration. And this is a federal program. Yes, you could have some provincial involvement. Quebec has an agreement. Quebec's agreement is about prioritizing French language immigrants to go into Quebec. That's not what we see in Alberta.
The opposition NDP say the UCP government does not have a mandate to make drastic changes.
They don't have a mandate from Albertans for this. Not on separatism, not on pulling out of the CPP, not on breaching the charter rights of thousands of Albertans, not on coal mining in the Eastern Slopes, and not on two-tier health care.
In her address last night, the Premier linked projected budget deficits to what she called out-of-control immigration, despite the fact that the province is still offering a $5,000 bonus to encourage people to move here. The referendum will take place October 19th. When asked about the cost of the referendum, the Premier said it would be comparable to a provincial election, and the last one cost $36.7 million. The provincial budget comes down next Thursday. The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down President Donald Trump's global tariffs, dealing a stunning political and economic blow to the president and his agenda, with far-reaching implications for many countries, including Canada. Trump reacting to the decision, calling it a disgrace and promising even stronger measures. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed.
The American president says he's deeply disappointed in the U.S. Supreme Court decision striking down so-called IEEPA or fentanyl tariffs. He then, as many predicted, announced new ones.
Today I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country.
President Trump has famously said his favorite word is tariff. And so I don't think they're going to simply walk away.
IEPA tariffs collected an estimated $240 billion. The Supreme Court decision did not address refunds, while one dissenting opinion noted handling them would be a mess.
Unraveling that and securing refunds is going to be messy, but that's certainly going to be a key issue that Canadian businesses are going to be focused on.
While steel and aluminum, automotive and lumber tariffs remain in place. Yet the vast majority of Canadian goods were exempt from IEPA tariffs anyway due to CUSMA, the free trade deal that's up for review.
With these midterms, with a shifting political climate in the United States, with the inability of Congress to just follow him at a command, all of those things add up to a situation where I think it is more likely that he's actually going to engage on CUSMA than attempt to burn it to the ground.
The lead minister on the Canada-U.S. file said in a statement the court decision reinforces Canada's position that IEPA tariffs are unjustified, but, quote, critical work lies ahead to fight for businesses still impacted by tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Now, the court ruling this morning has brought both positivity and worry to those in southern Alberta. While it's expected to ease market uncertainty, there is concern that implications could be on the horizon with upcoming Canada-United States-Mexico agreement negotiations. Carson Marsouk has that story.
This is a positive indicator, but it does not mean that the insanity is done.
Economic development organizations in southern Alberta say Friday's Supreme Court of the U.S. ruling against President Donald Trump's tariffs are positive, but more needs to be done.
A lot of people are breathing a huge sigh of relief and hoping that this marks the end to the roller coaster of tweeted economic sanctions that we've been living under. But unfortunately, the president still has a lot of means at his disposal to unilaterally impose uncertainty on global markets.
Lethbridge was ranked 10th most vulnerable Canadian city to U.S. tariffs.
It's important to remember this has never been as big of an issue for Canada as it has been for other countries. CUSMA is still in force, and the Canadian, U.S., Mexico's free trade agreement still covers the vast majority of our trade.
But there's concerns upcoming negotiations could be impacted by Friday's ruling. Producers in southern Alberta believe there's the potential Trump could use the agreement to respond to the court's decision.
That, I would say, could actually bite us in the rear end at some point, where when we get to negotiations with CUSMA, be like, well, okay, so they said I couldn't do this tariffs, so I'm going to negotiate harder on the products that were allowed before.
The trade deal will be reviewed in July.
We love to do Canadian business as much as possible, and we love to do business all over the world. But our American neighbors are the best marketplace happening, and they're the closest.
Until then, economic professionals say Canada and Alberta need to launch a marketing campaign and policy shift to say the country is projecting certainty and reliability.
I don't think anybody who's reasonably looking at this thinks that the risk is gone or that the uncertainty is gone. And that is having a major impact on global markets. It's having a major impact here in southern Alberta and in Canada abroad.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
It is time to talk about the forecast with Danielle Savoni. And Danielle, the weekend is here, and so are some warmer temperatures.
Yes. So as we head into the weekend, things are going to regulate and temperatures will be more reasonable. It's going to take a little bit to get there. So tonight, tomorrow morning, still wind chills in the -30s for many communities in the far south. Heads up on that one. You'll start to really notice a difference by tomorrow afternoon, and then the biggest difference by early next week. You can see the extreme cold warning is now off into Saskatchewan, where they're seeing wind chills in the -40s. And right now in the far south, it feels more like -22 in Pitcher Creek, -26 in Lethbridge, and -21 in Medicine Hat. Again, we'll drop to wind chills in the -30s tonight and for tomorrow morning, and then a huge improvement. I'll show you that in a longer range coming up, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Now, the recent snow and cold temperatures have reduced the fire risk throughout the region, not surprisingly. The city of Lethbridge has lifted the River Valley fire ban as a result of the snow and cooler temperatures. Lethbridge County has also lifted its fire restriction. Both municipalities are still reminding residents to use clean, dry wood only and keep fires small and supervised at all times. A new report shows less people appear to be sleeping on the streets in Lethbridge. The 2025 point-in-time count shows the first drop in homelessness in more than 10 years. Quinn Keenan has more.
On October 2nd, 2025, 504 people in Lethbridge were found to be experiencing some level of homelessness. That's down 3% from 522 people in 2024.
And then, of course, with the 3% reduction, it is still a small reduction, but we are paying more attention to that trend that we have seen in our community. So going back in a couple of years, we're starting to see that flatten out and then now see a reduction.
It's not a significant drop, but it does buck the trend. This is the first time Lethbridge has seen its homeless population decline since 2014. It could be a sign that some city-led initiatives are working.
Shows us that things are moving in the right direction for our community, and we'll continue to focus on this area and support the community, and we're hopeful that this trend can continue year over year.
There was a 252% increase in people accessing treatment facilities. That suggests more people are looking for addiction recovery support. Transitional housing capacity also grew 113%, with 27% more people using those spaces.
I think it's really taken a community effort, not just us as a municipality, but our partners that we work with. We've all put in a lot of effort, and we will continue to do so.
While it's good news, the city isn't planning to stop here. They'll be looking at new ways to get more residents off the streets and into safe housing.
And we want to ensure that there is diversity for every individual that's experiencing homelessness or vulnerability, whatever it may be. We know that one approach to one person might not be the best, so we want to ensure that that's balanced.
A new community safety action plan addressing safety, well-being, and social disorder will be introduced in the coming months. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A petition looking to ban coal mining on the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains is kicking off events tonight across the province, and the first one is this evening in Lethbridge. The petition is being spearheaded by country music artist Corb Lund. Canvassers have been able to collect signatures since last week. The Lethbridge launch event at Nikayoko is already underway. Canvassers will be collecting signatures until 8 o'clock. Lund believes they'll have no problem getting the 178,000 signatures.
We'd like to get way more than the 178,000 signatures that we're required to get. And the biggest thing anybody can do right now is be a canvasser. And it's not that hard. You don't have to go door to door if you want. You can just get your friends and family to sign up. That helps too.
If the petition is successful, it can either be brought into the legislature or be put to a referendum. Six-time Olympic medalist Claire Hughes is leading discussions on mental health during her Palliser District Teachers Convention.
I want them to know that they matter so much to our society, to our children, to our communities, to our cities and country, that they are the superheroes. So I hope I can bring Olympic spirit. I hope I can bring in the teachers who have taught me so much and to show the power of educating, the power that you have, this beautiful soft power of affecting somebody's life.
Hughes wants to inspire teachers to face their fears, find their voice, and become the champions they're meant to be. Over 2 days, more than 4,300 teachers and teacher leaders took part in the convention in Calgary. Well, Danielle is back with your weekend forecast on the other side of this break. Plus, Canada has a new top doctor. We'll have more in 2 minutes.
All right, here's our outside camera as you could say unfrosted compared to the last couple of days. So it's a nice shot, facing west, looking good, still feeling on that cold side. That's going to slowly improve. It's a bit of an improvement this afternoon. I mean, with the wind chill, it feels more like -22 in Pincher Creek, feels more like 26 in Lethbridge, -21 with that lovely wind chill in Medicine Hat. So it's still chilly. Absolutely. And we're going to slowly warm up here. You'll notice a big difference by next week, a bit of a difference by Sunday. We don't have a whole lot going on. We have a stateside system that's moving through. It's going to push some cloud cover in here and there, but we're still looking at a mainly sunny day for tomorrow. So no real active weather in the forecast until Tuesday. I'll show you that in the longer range in just a second. Big key piece here in the darker green, the jet stream is going to pump back up, and we're going to mainly be on the south side of it, or at least this is going to pump in some westerly winds. So either way, we're looking at much warmer temperatures for next week and getting above that freezing mark, well above that freezing mark by the middle of next week. Okay, Futurecast, I'm just going to play this through because there's not a whole lot to show you on here. Tomorrow, mainly sunny skies with the occasional cloudy period. On Sunday, mainly cloudy with the occasional sunny period. So a bit reversed. but no real active weather. Maybe a little breezy at times. All right, East Kootenay, overnight -11. Tomorrow -1. Wind should be relatively calm, mainly sunny for tomorrow. So a quiet, nice day in the East Kootenay area for tomorrow and mild at -1. Crowsnest Pass, -33 with a wind chill tonight, with the wind chill tomorrow morning about -28. So it's still a cold start to the day. In the afternoon, that -11 will feel well into the minus teens. So just brace for another cold one before you really start to notice a big warm up. Medicine Hat with the wind chill tonight feeling more like -34. Same thing for tomorrow morning, but then in the afternoon -11. However, again, that -11 will feel well into the minus teens anyway. All right, -13 as our high for tomorrow in Lethbridge, but -33 with the wind chill in the morning. This will come with a mainly sunny day. It'll be a little breezy at times, but a nice day, just a cold day. A little more cloud cover expected for Sunday, but check out the temperature by Sunday, -4. That's a huge improvement. And then by Monday, +5. We'll take a bit of a dip as a system and a cold front rolls through on Tuesday. That's going to drop us down to the freezing mark, and it's also going to bring in that mixed precipitation because we'll be around that freezing mark. So expect about 1 centimeter of snow then and about 1 millimeter of rainfall then. That will quickly clear out. It's not as big as this last system. And then check out the warm up after that. 7 degrees for Wednesday, and likely by Thursday we'll be into the plus double digits next week. So you just got to wait a bit, but we're getting into those toasty temperatures later next week.
A Manitoba physician has been named Canada's new top doctor. Dr. Josh Reimer replaces Teresa Tam as Canada's Chief Public Health Officer. Dr. Tam became a household name across the country during the COVID-19 pandemic and retired in June. Reimer was Chief Medical Officer for the Winnipeg Health Authority and was also a former president of the Canadian Medical Association. She'll step into the new role in April. The province says it has now destroyed the remainder of the children's pain and fever medicine it ordered from Turkey. In 2022, the Alberta government ordered the liquid acetaminophen because of a shortage of children's pain medicine, but by the time it arrived, the shortage was over. It was also pulled from neonatal intensive care units because it was clogging feeding tubes. The province says half of its remaining 1.4 million bottles were donated, but the rest have now been destroyed because it was set to expire. The opposition calls the whole process a waste of public money, saying it cost $70 million to order the medicine and $700,000 to destroy what was left. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, it was do or die for Canada's men's hockey team, and they did it. And more Canadians medaled at the Winter Olympics. Sports is next. Welcome back. A rivalry will be renewed this weekend. The Lethbridge Hurricanes and Medicine Hat Tigers will meet for the very last edition of the Highway 3 rivalry this season. It has been a one-sided rivalry so far this year. The Tigers have won all 4 meetings between the two this season. The action starts tonight in Lethbridge at 7. The second part of the home-and-home series goes tomorrow in Medicine Hat. That game also goes at 7. It's getting close to crunch time in the BCHL. Teams are jockeying for seeding and trying to lock down playoff spots. The Brooks Bandits start their weekend on the road against the Spruce Grove Saints. The Bandits have won 4 out of 5 games in the season so far. That game starts at 7. Now the Cranbrook Bucks, they're also on the road facing off against the Okotoks Oilers. It is a huge game with the Bucks trailing the Oilers by 3 points for that last and final playoff spot in the Interior Conference. That one starts at 7:05. Now Saturday, the Bandits and Bucks will meet up for a game in Brooks. The Bandits will look to stay undefeated against the Bucks this season. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock. The Lethbridge Polytechnic Kodiaks are heading into their last weekend of court sports this season. The volleyball teams will be at home this weekend, hosting Red Deer Polytechnic. The women start things off tonight at 6, and then they will be followed by the men at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, we'll see some earlier starts. The women's game will be at 1, while the men's contest goes at 3. The basketball teams will be on the road taking on Red Deer Polytechnic, and those games, they also get underway at 6 and 8. Tomorrow, we will also see those same earlier start times. The women, they'll tip off at 1 o'clock. The men wrap things up at 3. A big day for Team Canada in Milano Cortina as we head into the final weekend of the Olympics. Canada will play for gold in men's hockey, and more athletes proudly wearing the maple leaf found themselves on the podium. CTV's Scott Hurst has your Olympic roundup.
Dreams of Olympic gold are still alive in the men's hockey tournament.
Ultimately, a big win, and now they get to play for the gold medal.
Team Canada beat Finland today to punch their ticket to the final game. The Canadians were trailing 2-0 in the second period when the red and white scored 3 unanswered goals.
This little bit of adversity, this is a good thing for Team Canada. They've learned what it takes when the games tighten up and the skill part is not necessarily available to them right off the bat. How do you grind so you can get to that skill game?
Nova Scotia's Nathan McKinnon with the game winner on the power play with just 35 seconds left in regulation. The final score, 3-2 for Canada. More medals today in speed skating. Valerie Malte was back on the podium for the third time at Milano Cortina in long track. The 35-year-old in her 5th Olympic Winter Games won bronze in the women's 1,500 meter. Canada also landed on the podium in men's free ski halfpipe. Brendan McKay needed a big score on his third and final run, and that's exactly what he got from the judges. A 91 even, enough to put him into third. A bronze medal for the 28-year-old from Calgary in his second Olympics. With just a couple of days left in the Olympics, there are still plenty of opportunities for Canadians to land on the podium, including in both men's and women's curling. The women will play for bronze against the Americans tomorrow, while the men have a shot at gold against Great Britain. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, a Southern Alberta dog sled tour company is expanding. We'll show you where when we return. Well, the snow this year in the mountain parks has been above average in many regions, and that is great news for dog sledders. Mad Dogs and Englishman Expeditions are in their second year of hosting tours at Fortress Mountain. They've spent 30 years in the Spray Lakes Valley and now can offer clients a different view of Kananaskis country at the former ski resort. It is cold out, but that's just the way the dogs like it, and they run on groomed trails. Dawn Donaldson says the season usually starts in December and runs through the end of April.
This year we were able to start running November 22nd, which was, so we were able to get on earlier, do some training, get tours out on that's a full month earlier. And they keep the snow here generally, so depending on how hot it is and how it melts, but we might be able to run dog sled tours right into May.
It's a family-run company that takes people out from all over the world to experience a ride in a sled pulled by a dog team, but it also hosts movie producers to scout for locations. Fortress has been featured in many major Hollywood productions, along with some of the dogs out on the trail today. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.